Hello, everyone. My name is Nicholas Piano. I'm an entrepreneur. I have started recently looking at businesses that involve AI and looking at some of the best ways to use AI. And as with everyone in this space, I am now extremely opinionated and correct as to the best way to use AI in a product. But it's something that I'm still experimenting with. I wanted to start off by showing you a video game, actually. The topic that I want to cover is breaking free from the chat box. And kind of a confession, if I never have to use a chat window to do anything again, I would choose to do that. It is one of my least favorite interfaces ever, and I'm waiting for the day when I no longer have to code using a chat interface. I won't spend too much time on it, but I'll leave you one philosophical thing. There are two very important quantities, the amount of content and time that a chat interface is used to represent with the same dimension up. Both of those two very important quantities are represented by a single direction. This, in my opinion, is the fatal flaw of chat interfaces. But what I want to investigate is a sort of concept to try to get free of this. How can we use the power of AI, which is demonstrably powerful? It produces things extremely quickly that we wouldn't have imagined. But I want to imagine how can we use this power, but in another way, to direct it in a different way. And so I want to show you this video game. It's called Ares. I don't know if anyone knows it. Probably they don't, because when it was originally released, it was for the Power Mac. And it was back in the day, the company that made it, perhaps they believed that Power Mac would be the future of gaming. It was not the future of gaming, so maybe not a lot of people got exposed to this. But it had one feature in it which I actually rarely see, and I actually really enjoy. So when you're fighting with your spaceship and you're shooting around, you see spaceships, you see the weapons, you see all sorts of other things in your environment, and you see them with a certain amount of detail. In a lot of video games, you have a little mini map which shows you a sort of schematic of what's going on, a bird's eye view of what you're doing. But in this case, in this game, it doesn't have a mini map really. What it does is at a certain point, and I think it's going to happen at some point soon, you actually only control it by zooming. And I'm going to skip forward just 2 seconds. Yeah, so I'll show you what happens. When the player zooms out, everything smoothly becomes a schematic. And this is something that I have loved for many years, and I actually very rarely see, because it allows sort of a very smooth control in and out from the whole scenario into specifically what you're doing. And I very rarely see that, and I wish I saw that more. And if anyone has a modern example, I'd be very interested. Anyway, this is sort of an inspiration for the direction I'd like to go when it comes to coding interfaces. So we're very familiar with the way chatbots look like now. This, for example, this is my hottest product right now, is a chatbot. It is just a chat box, and you type in the chat box and you type what you want. Essentially what it is to allow a lawyer to save time by not interacting with a customer interface altogether. So I have sort of an idea. This is kind of a concept, and I know you'll appreciate the sort of modern minimalist design. But the idea was, what if I could have something where I could touch and interact with the thing that I'm specifically doing? So I thought, why can't I just create stuff by pointing at it first, and then maybe add some more gestures that do even more complicated things? So could I get someone from the audience, perhaps, what type of interface would you imagine creating? A dashboard, a financial dashboard, perhaps. Okay. Could you create a financial dashboard. I'm going to give it. I'm going to go easy on it and say I'm going to say give me a mock-up first of all. And so and since this is 2026 and we deal with AI, I'll use my magic wand. Go. And just kind of hope that it works. But yeah, so I hope that the demo gods smile on me and we get something satisfactory. But back in the days when you did algorithms and stuff, you didn't have to worry about this kind of thing. You just tested it 100,000 times before you got to the demo, and then it would work in the demo. But we don't live in that age anymore. Anyway, so if I ask it to do something like this, what I've given it is essentially, and helpfully it's given me a whole bunch of errors that occurred while it was doing that, but it's given me this dashboard. It's given me this sort of mock-up of what's going on. And what I want to be able to do, and I can do in a very basic form at the moment, is I want to say, it specifically knows what I've clicked on because I've instructed it to create an interface in such a way that everything is uniquely identifiable. And so anything that I click on has a unique ID that can then be referred back to. So I can say, pie chart. Make a pie chart, make this a pie chart. Okay, fine. Add a pie chart here, please. You have to say please. It makes better code. I don't know what to say. But what I have, actually, now I have to wait for this, but I'll show you what I've done is I can click on multiple locations at once, give it different instructions about different things that I want to achieve, and then because all of those things have locations associated with them, not only locations, but you can sort of put in like percentage across the screen or across the component. So I can put in here, I want all sorts of stuff. I can say, make the background gray. I can say, I don't know, make this the main component in the center, and things like that. And then it will execute all of those. And so what I really want to see is a way to really interact deeply with an interface in this type of way. The reason I showed you the video game in the first case was because I had this sort of idea, and this is actually one of the bad things about AI at the moment, is that AI is best when you operate on things where there is maximum information available. So web programming is a good example. There is so much information about websites and how to create them, and the source code of many, many websites is available. So when the AI has that much information, it can operate on it very easily. But for some things, there isn't a lot of code available. So a good example is iPhone apps. There is code, but the problem is when you write an iPhone app, you keep that code, and no one sees that code. And so because of that, that means the AI doesn't see the code, and it doesn't have that information. So it's my regret that I actually never really learned how to do iPhone apps. But I think that with the example of the video game that I showed you, combined with an interface like an iPad, which in my opinion is still underutilized. It is extremely powerful, and if someone has an example of an app that makes use of the incredible power of the touchscreen, I'd be very interested to see it. I've seen things like DJ apps and art apps. Those are pretty cool, but I think with interacting with things like interface creation and large data sets, I think there's a lot of potential. And what I'd like to see is an iPad used to sort of, if you can imagine stretching with two fingers and molding and moving around, and like the video game, moving through different levels of information about an interface. So how it's created, its source code, which things are connected to other things. And if you can imagine using an iPad to move through these layers of meaning, just like the video game was doing, I think that would be an extremely powerful approach, and I'd really like to see it. And so that's kind of where I'd like to go when it comes to taking advantage of AI without relying on the chat interface, despite the fact that it makes me money currently. I'd really like to see that change. And I'd be very interested in other ideas that people have about how to break free from that as well. So yeah, that's where I'd like to go. Thank you very much. Any questions?
I have a concluding thought that I would like to share with anyone. It's not specifically related with this, but the whole AI Tinkerers Valencia experience, because this is my third time here, and I always grow in this takeaway. I always come to the same takeaway conclusion, and I can already imagine the background that we all have of the exposures here and the things that we have in common. The thing in common is obvious, the AI, that's why we all here. And some of you are more strong into the customer side, how to monetize the idea, but completely lack of technical background. And the other ones, they are so crazy in a technical background that they forget completely how to monetize the idea. And I think if we all go here in a boot camp or into an island or something super good might come out. And that's basically my idea, And the thing that you're proposing here is great, and we all suffer, how difficult it is to make the AI to do some CSS properly. But there are already solutions in the way, already developed by Cursor, for example, that you can pinpoint exactly what you're doing now, and it's already making these changes. But I just want to congratulate you how you expose your ideas, the lack of funding, how you actually sell yourself. It's very nice.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's very much appreciated.
Nicholas?
Yeah.
It reminds me, at least the concept you want, like going inside. It reminds me like presentations.
It does. Yeah, I agree.
At least for me, looked like okay. So through what layers we can go? We can create whatever layer of the data, like this one total whatever balance. Let's go inside tables, other we can move into different directions. It's a cool idea, really.
And it doesn't have to be, so you can imagine zooming, the meaning of that doesn't necessarily have to mean about space. It could be other ideas. So like, I imagine you see a layout of a city and there's like water pipes and electricity systems, and like each layer could be like a different view of that map. And that's very attractive to me. So, but Prezi is a great example. I like the way they do their presentation.
From a product perspective, I don't get because for example, I like to see the layers as we are mainly software engineers, so we like to see through things to see this type of like abstraction and the different layers. But I don't get where it will be useful for, like, for example, here I have like my financial dashboard. Where would I get? Is it if I want more features, or in what way could we use this types of?
So the idea of the zooming almost would be one of those layers could be the underlying code of a specific component. So now I can the abstraction of a file with code in a file doesn't really help you when I want to point at a specific place in the interface. And so if instead I can grab that component and stretch it out, and there I look inside and I can see, oh, this is the code that defines specifically this component, that is where I could see it being used in a development context, where you're like, I want to see what's underneath here. And you were saying as well, where's the data connected? What does the data look like underneath it?
Just
like,
different view of whatever you want to see, because different angle. So I totally get it.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
I think you should check out unit.software.
Unit.software, sure.
It's basically what you described.
Yeah.
It's not AI yet, but the guy has created something it called nodes, and then you have different nodes in a graph. And basically you can create some interface with those nodes, and that enables meta programming. You can take nodes, hire other nodes.
Okay.
You can zoom into a node, see what the data flow are.
Yeah.
You can program them. It's a bit reminding me of that.
No, that's very cool. I will definitely check that out. And yeah, as you said, if maybe it's not AI yet, But if you had, at very strategic points, AI put into that kind of pipeline, that could be very powerful. That could be very cool. Hi, go ahead.
I have one recommendation.
Yes.
I follow the guy. He has a blog, Fist. His name is Linus Lee.
Linus Lee?
Yeah, and he was also researching on exactly what you were mentioning.
Oh, wonderful.
For knowledge.
Yeah, I definitely.
That's the guy. And he has a blog.
This guy?
Yeah.
I'll definitely check it out. Thank you.
When you were experimenting, did you see anything particularly interesting
With
that interface?
So I haven't gone as far with it as I want to. As I say, with the zooming aspect, I haven't managed to make that work yet. But it was kind of crazy when I was doing it. Normally I would just go into the code and I'd find the place in the code, or I'd ask Claude, hey, can you tell me where this thing is in the code? But instead of that, I could just click on it. And I wish all my programming were like that, because I do a lot of interfaces, and I wish I could do it more like that, rather than typing words in a chat box.